My name is Caroline Jane Davis, and I am the director of Mr. Burns, a post-electric play by Anne Washburn. This play was chosen a year ago. We had the season set around March of last year, so we knew that we were going to be doing Mr. Burns. In the fall, Professor Jesse Zhao joined us as an associate professor of directing, and he called me into his office one day and said, I worked around Anne on a production of hers, 10 out of 12 in New York, so I know her. Would you be comfortable if I kind of asked her to come be a part of the development process for a weekend? Or would that be too intimidating? And I was like, oh God, yes, it would be horrifyingly intimidating, but you have to do it, please, please, please. So he went away and a couple weeks later came back and said she's agreed to come. She'll be here right at the beginning of the rehearsal process to kind of help shape and form your early conceptions of the play, to answer questions that you have before you get too far into the blocking process and that kind of thing. So I was super excited, especially because I'd been doing my research on her as a playwright, because before Burns I hadn't read anything else she wrote. So I had read a bunch of her plays, kind of fell in love with her brain. And so by the time that she actually came to Tech, of course I'd been doing even more research to make sure I was ready to meet her and talk to her about kind of all of the things that she could have insight on. So by the time she actually got to Tech, I was thrilled, and I met her at a coffee shop with a bunch of grad students on a Friday afternoon. And I was shaky and anxious, and she was great about immediately kind of getting rid of any fears or anxieties that I had. And Jesse kept saying, you know, she's just a person. She's just she's a theater maker. She understands how this works. She's a playwright. So she was super cool about being like, you're doing a play. That's great. Let's talk about the play. And then through that weekend, she was able to sit in on a closed rehearsal, and talk to us about the work we were doing there. And then that Sunday, we had an open rehearsal where she got to kind of talk about her ideas on the play after everybody else kind of watched 1 hour of our work. And through that, she gave an incredible amount of guidance. She was really supportive. She found things about our production that she was able to praise that were unique to our production, even though she's seen plenty of productions of it in places much bigger than Texas Tech, and she was also able to kind of give me insight as a director, especially as a young director, about elements of the show that might be particularly difficult to work, that I would need to allow more time for. She was good about saying, this moment is really important. Make sure that you spend some time dissecting what this means to the characters in the world. And she was also great about saying, oh, I love what you're doing there, do that more. Or that doesn't work, that doesn't kind of fit in with the world I've created. Why don't you go in this direction instead? So she provided an incredible amount of guidance in such a short period of time that I cannot imagine tackling the show without having the opportunity to speak to her, because it's such a crazy beast of a show. There's so much happening all at the same time, and once you meet her, you kind of understand where it all comes from, and that kind of makes it more manageable, I think. Through Texas Tech, through Jesse's connection, and then through the support from Dr. Charney, our chair, and from Dr. Chansky in the humanities department, who all kind of worked together and spearheaded the event that she came for, we were able to have that experience even somewhere like Lubbock, where you wouldn't necessarily expect a New York playwright to all of a sudden show up, and she was able to because of that kind of departmental support and the university support. And that's, I think, what makes Texas Tech School of Theater and Dance kind of so great, is that they're willing to go the extra mile for their students and to provide those opportunities that are so special and unique that you kind of cherish forever. So come see Mr. Burns by Anne Washburn, playing April 10th through the 16th at the Laboratory Theater at Texas Tech University.